everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are talking about my plans for 30 in 30. So there is a 30 in 30 manga challenge, which is run by and hosted by Isabel from Happy for Now, Shay from Shay Geeks Out, and Ashley from Realm of Comics. And I have been trying to participate in almost every single one. Like, I absolutely love it. I failed earlier this year. It was April and things were going on. I knew I was not going to hit 30 volumes of manga in 30 days. But it is coming back again in September, and I am definitely going to be trying and attempting to do 30 volumes of manga in 30 days, maybe even more, because I actually have quite a few things like on my TBR, unread, things that I've just been having for a while that I'm like, I should read those. And I've been more into manga, comics, and graphic novels right now. They're just easier to get back into reading, and so like I'm very excited for this. So today's video is more just sort of talking about the things that I have that I would like to read. I do actually have more than 30 volumes even to talk about today, so let me know what you think my top priorities should be, because I have more than 30. I'm indecisive, and so having an opinion of like either something that you loved and you're like, oh, I think you would love this, or something that you're curious about or you haven't heard anybody else talk about and you want me to like try them out, let me know, because yeah, I have like 40 something volumes, I want to say, unread. We're going to talk about all of those today. Some of these series have been on my TBR for a while, and so I actually think I would potentially want to reread volumes that I have already read before, so we'll see. This month's challenge is also going to have actual like challenges to do. Like, we have a list of 40 different things that you can try and challenge yourself for. I have no idea which ones I'm going to be attempting or going to be able to complete, but like one of them is to read one volume a day for the 30 days. So at least one volume a day to hit that 30. I'm going to be attempting to do that. Some days I might read more, but I'm going to be attempting to do at least one volume a day. So let's get into the ones that I want to talk about. And so the first couple that I wanted to talk about are actually arcs. I recently just got 2 manga arcs from Kodansha. These ones were actually read now, so I was able to download them now. One is going to be coming out, I believe, in September. One is going to be coming out in October. I'm going to be reading them pretty quickly into the 30 in 30 manga challenge, just, you know, because. The first one is the Spellbook Library by Uda Isaki. This is a volume 1. That's part of the reason I picked this up. And it looks like it's going to be more of like a shonen type of title. When he was a child, troublemaker Yan was attacked by a ferocious spell beast until he was rescued by a group of spellbook librarians. Inspired by the librarians' heroic efforts, Yan vows to turn over a new leaf and become a spellbook librarian to repay their kindness. On the day of his employment exam, he meets Toru, a mysterious young boy who has his own reasons for wanting to work at the library. Together, Yan and Toru set off and join the ranks of the Spellbook Library and begin the long journey to learn just what it takes to become a spellbook librarian. So I mean, like, library, the fact that apparently there's like books with spells. I think was there something about, when I first looked this up on NetGalley, about like putting the beast in a book, maybe? I don't know. I want to read this. I'm very curious. The other arc that I have is Sheltering Eaves by Rie Aruga. This is the same author as Perfect World, which I have started reading, have not finished the series, but I was really enjoying it. That one is dealing with one of the main characters. It's a romance. One of the main characters being paralyzed, and we did have a look into some of like caretaking aspects because it was based on the author's experience caretaking for her paralyzed mother. This one is going to be dealing with foster care, so we do have some like very hard topics in some of these books, but I'm very curious about this one since it is a newer release we're going to be talking about. And on Goodreads currently, the English edition actually still has a Japanese book description. But yes, basically it was talking about these 2 people who end up in foster care, and I think we're getting to the point where they're going to be aging out of the system, and I think it might still be a romance. We shall see, but I've read some stuff by this author before and I wanted to try this out. Then another one of the challenges is actually to read a host favorite. I think I'm going to be attempting to read at least one volume of a host favorite from every single host. So far, I've read 2 different things before that I've absolutely loved. So Isabel, one of her favorites that she was recommending is Boys Run the Riot by Keito Gaku. I actually have all 4 books. I read them as they were coming out. Absolutely love them, so like I'm glad that they were one of her recommendations. And then for Shay, she recommended Sweat and Soap, which again, I have all the volumes. That one I actually read because of Shay and Isabel recommending it like on their channel. So I've read those before, but I want to try other ones from all 3 hosts. And so one that I saw at my library the last time I was there is She Loves to Cook and She Loves to Eat. This is by Sakayomi Uzaki. I had to look that up because the sticker is right on the author's name. This is one that Isabel is recommending, and it is going to be sapphic, and it's about like these characters figuring out, I think, their sexual and romantic identity, but like through food. I've heard really, really good things about this. It's not something that was on my radar before Isabel recommended it, so I was so glad to see it at my library. And there are other recommendations from both Ashley and Shay that I want to check out that I think I'll either be able to get through my library because I don't currently own them. But yeah, this one I'm very excited to try out. Because I got it at my library last time I was there, I actually think I'm going to be reading it one of the first things I do in the month, because my library books actually have to go back like the very beginning of September. But I'm very excited to check this one out. And then everything else I have are TBR books on my TBR. So I have PTSD Radio Volume 2 by Masaki Nakayama. This is a horror that I read the first volume, and these are bind-up volumes, so it was like 2 volumes in one. So this is actually going to be like book 3 and 4. They're very, very creepy. The first one had to do a lot with hair, and I'm curious to see if that's going to pull into this as well, because it was a little bit creepy. They're sort of individual different stories that eventually meet up a little bit based on the type of horror that's happening, and so I definitely want to continue in this series, so I have this one. I also have Orange to You Dear One by Ichigo Takano. This is the latest Orange volume, a second epilogue almost, because we got Orange forever ago, it feels like. And then we had Orange Future, which was like an epilogue on it, and then I think last year or the year before, we then got Orange to You Dear One. I absolutely love this series because it is sort of like sci-fi. There is some romance, coming of age type of stuff. I have no idea what we're gonna get in this. It does say the final chapter, but like Orange was originally only like a 5-book series, and then we keep having epilogues. But I do need to read this. I also have Hat Atelier Volume 6 and 7 by Kamome Shirahama. This is one of my more recent series that I've been reading, so I don't think I'm going to need to reread anything to read these. But it's about a girl who gets taken under the wing of like a magician. In this world, you either have magic or you don't. And there's like some sort of like weird, mysterious, like extra stuff that's been happening, things that we didn't get introduced to at first in this series, but like she seems to be maybe part of a bigger conspiracy or a bigger plot that the bad guys are having, and so I definitely want to read more of this. The art style is really, really gorgeous, and so yeah, I have volume 6 and 7. I also have Princess Jellyfish Volume 8 and 9 by Akiko Higashimura. So I know I was reading these as individual volumes when they were first coming out in English, and I did not fully finish this series because like when you were reading them online, like in individual volumes, you could read them that way, but like when they came out in English, it was like a very big like, let's have omnibus editions, and I love the omnibus editions. So I don't know where I left off. On my TBR on Goodreads, it says I need to read this book. Like I put these 2 as my TBR, but I'm pretty sure I'm only not read this one. This is a series that I actually wanted to reread, and I started rereading Volume 1 last year. I did reread Volume 1, but I never continued. I do want to continue it. It is about a girl who is living and friends with these like geeky girls. They all have very specific tastes. Like one is into trains, one is into dolls, one is into she's into Jellyfish, Princess Jellyfish, and they have to try and save the house that they're living in, and she meets this like very fabulous woman who's not actually a woman, and there's this stuff that goes on, and I really, really love the like characterization and the romance and like the friendship aspects to this story, and I just never finished it. So this would be one that I would potentially need to reread some stuff, mostly because I want to. Not that I necessarily have to. There is an anime for this, and I actually watched the anime first. There are some deviations for the anime, but I actually loved the anime a lot. So I at least need to read volume 9, probably 8 as well. But if I read this, I'm going to be rereading other stuff too. From that same author, I actually have Tokyo Tarareba Girls, volumes 1 through 4. Yeah, 1 through 4. I have not read these at all. I started picking these up when they first started coming out in English, but I had not finished Princess Jellyfish, so I didn't start these. It's the same author. It is not in the same world as far as I know, but it is, again, going to be more of a josei type of series. It's following these, like, I think, out of their teens, early 20s type of women as they go about their lives. I don't know much more than that, but I love the art style and stuff and the storytelling from this author, so I definitely want to try these. I also have I Hear the Sunspot. This is volume 6 in the series, 4 seasons volume 1 though, by Yuki Fumino. I absolutely love this series so much. This is a male-male romance, college age, and one of our main characters is deaf, and so that's how they sort of meet up in the first volume. They meet up because one of them needs help taking notes in class, and the guy that is going to be doing that for him is taking notes and things for him in exchange for box lunches, and it's just like the cutest little setup. But I absolutely love the characterization and the fact that like they're actually coming of age and like figuring out how to do relationships and work and all this kind of stuff, and one of them just happens to be deaf. Like I absolutely love the series. I feel like I want to reread this because I love the first ones so much to get to this one. I don't think I need to, but I might. Speaking of some of the books that I need to read, and an author that we technically talked about earlier, I have more Rie Aruga. So I have that arc that I talked about earlier, but I do still have Perfect World. I have Perfect World 4, 5, and 6. There are more in this series, but these are the ones that I currently own, and I want to read them. I don't think, again, I need to reread the first 3 in order to read this. I think I can jump back in, and it is going to be a romance. It is following 2 characters who are falling in love and like having a relationship and stuff, and the guy is paralyzed from the waist down. I think I'm pretty sure I mentioned earlier, the author is writing this from a caretaker's point of view, because I have seen some criticisms of this previously, forever ago it feels like, that this is not own voices in the way that like she is paralyzed in a wheelchair. It is coming from the fact that she was taking care of a family member, pretty sure her mom, who was paralyzed in a wheelchair, and like she did it as a caretaker. It is coming from a caretaker's point of view, so there might be some little things that are more focused on that side than the other, but I was giving every single volume that I read before, the first 3, like 4 stars. Like I'm very invested to see where this is gonna go. I then have volumes 9 through 16 of The Demon Prince of Momochi House by Aya Shoto. This has been on my TBR for a while. Like, I really loved the first ones that I was reading, and I am that person that needs multiple manga volumes to like really get into it at once. Like I'm not somebody that usually reads just 1 volume at a time. So I got to a point where I think I caught up to where the releases were, and then when things started coming out again, I started buying and collecting them, knowing that I was going to want a few to read at a time. And then I ended up with the rest of the series. This is the rest of the series, and I never continued. This is something that I have not read in years. I do think I'm going to need to start at the beginning and reread from volume 1 in order to get through volume 16. However, it has been years, so I do think this is going to be one of my high priorities for this 30 and 30. But that means that's 16 volumes. That's more than half of what I should technically need for this month. So let me know. But it's been a while. This is about a woman, a girl. How old is she? She's supposed to be taking care of this house, and it is a romance. I want to say she's probably like in her late teens, early 20s, or at least supposed to be. She inherits the Momochi house from her family, and she's supposed to be the caretaker of this house, and she finds out that it is on like the border between our world and the like paranormal world, and that's why there's a demon prince. Yeah, so I need to read these. The next things that I have Given volume 3 through 6. This is a male-male romance. 20-something-year-olds who are in a band. I read the first two, really enjoyed them. So far, does not seem to be too sexual. Sometimes the boys love ones because these do say BL Sublime on there. That's their publisher. They do sometimes seem a little bit too quick to get into the physical aspects of the romance in a way that I personally would like to have a little bit more actual relationship and friendship build up. These are all people in a band, and I do think it's been a little while where I could probably reread the first two before I continue, but I remember really liking it and hearing really, really good things about the series, so I do have 3, 4, 5, and 6. The next one I have here would finish out a series for me that I do need to finish. My Love Mix-Up, Volume 8 and 9. This is from Wataru Hinakure, and I think I was reading this last year. So I needed the last 2 volumes by the end of last year, like that was when they were coming out, and I finished up through Volume 7, gave this whole series 5 out of 5 stars. It was one of my top series of last year, and I need to finish them. Again, I don't think I necessarily need to reread them in order to finish, but I do need to finish. Probably another high priority. This is a male-male romance. They're set in high school. It is about like coming of age, finding yourself, figuring out preferences and things like that, but it's all due to a love mix-up. Basically, one of our characters borrows an eraser from a girl that has this guy's name on it. He drops the eraser, he picks it up, and is like, oh, okay. He thinks the guy has a crush on him because it has his name, thinks the eraser is his. There's this whole mix-up of whose eraser it was and who loves who and things like that, and then, you know, things develop from there. Almost every single volume has a mix-up of something, and I just have absolutely been loving it so, so much. I think I might have just talked myself into trying to reread these because I really, really do love this one. The next couple things we have here are from the same author. I have xxXHolic Volume 2 as well as Tsubasa Volume 2 and 3. So the reason I have these, they're both by Clamp. Clamp is like a woman's writing group, I'm pretty sure. They go together. I know it sounds weird, but there is a reading order to these. I read Volume 1 of both because there are like little cameo appearances here in this world, in this series. I have watched the anime for xxXHolic. I don't think the anime had cameo stuff, or at least not that I remember. It's been a while, but I remember absolutely loving it. But I knew that these sort of went together, so I did want to read them at the same time, and these are the only ones that I have. So I don't know if these are things that I'm going to be trying to focus on as much this 30 and 30. However, I can if this is something that you guys really want to know about. These are older series. Tsubasa is more sci-fi, like time travel type of stuff, and xxXHolic is paranormal with ghosts and spirits and things, but there is crossover. And then the last ones that I want to talk about for physical books is Your Lie in April by Naoshi Arakawa. I have volume 10 and 11 that I have not read. I've seen the anime. I know what it's about. I am in denial. And that's part of the reason I haven't finished these. Because, yeah, I, again, absolutely love the series. I love the art style. I love the storytelling. I love everything about it. I've had these for years. Years. Have not finished them. I might want to reread these before because, yeah. Yeah. And then the only other thing I did want to mention, I do have a little bit of manga on my e-reader. So I technically have Blue Lock by Muneyuki Kaneshiro. I have the first 3 volumes of this. I picked this up in a Humble Bundle a couple years ago. It is soccer, sports. Not entirely too sure if it's like my thing, but it was very, very cheap, so I got them. And then the last one I have is Our Precious Conversations by Robiko. I have the first 5 volumes of this. It does look like it's going to be shoujo romance type of stuff. So again, I have those as well. I think that's bringing me to about 43 volumes if we're not counting anything that I would be rereading. For this reading challenge, readathon, whatever we want to call it. I am very, very excited to do this because, like I mentioned before, I'm getting back into reading after not doing it for a little while and having life be crazy, and Presley's going to be starting school soon, so that'll be exciting. But reading manga and comics and graphic novels has been much easier than novels and things like that. So I'm very excited to do the 30 and 30. I'm gonna see how many challenges I can actually do. I'm hoping to do the one that's like, do a host rec. I'm gonna wanna do one from every single host. We'll see what other ones I pick for that, probably depending on what my library has. And then I'm gonna probably do the 30 in 30 days, like one a day at least, so I can get that. Yeah, I really like the idea of the challenges. I think that's gonna keep me on track a little bit too, or maybe help me pick like what my next one would be, because I'm pretty sure one of them is also like has fall colors on the cover. Like, I think that's just like really, really fun. So yeah, let me know down below if there's any preferences for you on what you would like me to like prioritize here. And if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out Tuesdays, Thursdays, and sometimes Saturdays, so I will see you then. Bye!